This video will show you how biologists classify living things. To classify simply means to put into a group according to common characteristics. Here are some shapes. How would you group these shapes? You could group them by the number of sides they have, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6-sided shapes. But you might choose to classify them or group them by their color. All the red shapes in one group, all the green shapes in another, yellow, blue, black. Let's take the shape at the top. How would you classify that shape? It's yellow, but it has a little green, and it has no sides but one. It's a circular shape. So how would you classify it? Some of you, most of you probably, would choose to classify it as a yellow shape because it's mostly yellow. So how do we classify life that is so different? Well, let's do an example. Let's classify a fox. Around 1760 in Sweden, a man named Carl Linnaeus developed a system that we might use to classify this fox. He said all life belongs to a very large domain, a smaller kingdom, an even smaller phylum, a smaller class, order, family, genus, and species. These get smaller with fewer life forms in them as you go down the list. So let's start with the domain that the fox belongs to. What domain? This is the largest classification. Well, there are 3 domains. There are bacteria, eukarya, and archaea. Only eukarya have many cells. The fox has many cells. So bacteria and archaea, they only have 1 cell. So a fox cannot belong to these 2 domains. The fox has cells with a nucleus. So we must answer yes, fox cells have a nucleus, and that puts the fox into the domain eukarya. All right, we know the domain of the fox is the eukarya. What kingdom does the fox belong to? Well, there are 6 kingdoms in the domain eukarya. Animals, plants, fungi, protists, eubacteria, and archaebacteria. The fox is an animal because of the characteristics that it has. It has many cells and it reproduces young in a certain way, so it's an animal. Well, what phylum is the fox? There are 36 phyla in the animal kingdom. The fox has a skeleton, which makes it in the phylum Chordata. What class is the fox in? Chordata has 5 classes: fish, amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals. The mammals are the only group that have hair and bear their live young. They do not lay eggs. So which class is the fox in? The mammals. Now that we know the class is mammal, what order is the fox in? Well, It eats meat. That makes it a carnivore. What family is it in? Well, it's in the dog family, or Canidae, canine. What genus? It's in the Vulpes. That's Latin for fox. And what species? Well, they named the species the same as they did the genus, Vulpes. So the species of a fox is Vulpes vulpes. It helps if you know Latin. These are all Latin terms. Linnaeus used Latin to name the different structures. Let's do the elephant. What would the biological classification or the Linnaean classification for an elephant be? This is what it looks like. The same domain as a fox, the same kingdom, the same phylum, the same class, but the order is different. The elephant is different from the fox because the order, family, genus, and species are all different. What would the classification for your teacher be? It looks like this. The domain, kingdom, phylum, class are all the same as the fox and the elephant. But as you go smaller, the order, primates, we share that with the apes. Family, hominidae, those are the people. And genus is Homo, species is sapiens. Usually when you name an animal, you give its genus and species. So you are Homo sapiens. That's biological classification.